Pam Sevenbergen, 10,000 Lakes. 10,000 Lakes, Pam Sevenbergen.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcomed guests. Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes. Let's kayak every one of them. That's what my husband Richard and I said when we learned we were moving to Minnesota. So we took our kayaks and threw them in the back of our son's skydiving plane, and we took off to the great white north. As soon as our son Richie could see the outline of Minnesota below, he called back to us, told us to get ready. Richard and I strapped ourselves in one kayak and took the other kayak underneath our arms. Richie put the plane on automatic pilot and ran back. He got behind us and shoved us out that door. Richard and I lifted the other kayak above our arms, and the wind came beneath my bat wings, and we drifted slowly, slowly, slowly down. But something happened. We had miscalculated. In a land of 10,000 lakes? Where did Richard and I land? In the woods. Richard and I got ourselves out of the kayak and started to assess the situation. And then we heard it. Roar! Richard and I spun around. And there, about 500 yards away, was the biggest bear I had ever seen. His head was above the birch trees. Wanting to get a better look, I dialed in my telephoto lens that was located on my eyeball and got a good look at that bear's face. And then I knew what the bear's problem was. Because you see, I had gone to dental school before I was kicked out for not causing enough pain in my patients. But I knew that bear had an abscessed tooth, and it needed to come out. Richard, reading my mind like any good husband can, picked up his kayak and hurled it toward the bear. I picked up my kayak and hurled it to the bear. The kayaks tumbled end over end over end and landed vertically in that bear's mouth. The bear fell on his back. Richard ran through the weeds and grabbed a relaxation plant. He came back, waved those leaves underneath that bear's nose, and he was out. I grabbed my kayak oar, put it underneath that tooth, and popped it out. In the meantime, Richard grabbed an old bag of marshmallows out of our backpack and started molding a tooth. Then Richard and I, both being filled with hot air, blew on those marshmallows, and it was fired to perfection. We popped that marshmallow tooth back into the bear's mouth, and then the bear started to awake. His eyeballs opened up, looked at us. His big tongue started licking his big teeth as he was staring at us. Then that tooth, that tongue, got to his sweet tooth. And the bear smiled. He ran towards us, flipped us up on his back, and carried us all